Dana White has addressed the allegations. So we got a little 4-minute video to react to. And Harry Mack has promised me he's coming on the pod again today. We'll see. Dana just dropped this update. Met up with TMZ Sports to do an interview. Basically reveals that the FBI has been at the UFC headquarters following Isaac Dulgarian's fight-fixing allegations. Dana basically says right here he approached Dulgarian before the fight, gave him a chance, asked him multiple questions in relation to the fixing, didn't acknowledge it, said it was all up on the up and up. As soon as the fight ended, Dana says he called the FBI. Okay, here's the clip of Dana addressing the allegations for the first time.
Probably about 1 o'clock that day, we're with a company called IC360, and they are the best bet monitoring company in the business. And they reached out to us and they told us that there was some unusual action going on with that fight. Do we know anything? You know, we didn't. So what we did was we called the fighter and his lawyer and said, what's going on? There's some weird action going on in your bet, weird betting action going on in your fight. Are you injured? Do you owe anybody money? Has anybody approached you to, you know, and the kid said, no, absolutely not. I'm going to kill this guy. And, you know, so we said, okay. The fight plays out and first round finish by rear naked choke. Literally the first thing we did was call the FBI. So we called the FBI. I've met with the FBI twice today. So that's the whole thing. Now you see people out there talking, oh, there's hundreds of fights under it. It's total bullshit.
So this is him talking about Harry Mack's tweet. He's referencing Harry Mack. I just spoke to Harry Mack just a second ago. We're talking seconds ago. Harry Mack has confirmed with me once again he's currently getting set to come on the pod, all right? So we got Harry Mack coming on. We're going to ask him about Dana calling bullshit on his statements. But yeah, Dana, the fact that Dulgarian's lawyer was present, I mean, how the hell do you get his lawyer on the line so quick?
Total, usual clickbait bullshit.
Clickbait bullshit. Interesting wording. We're going to find out right now if it's clickbait bullshit, Dana.
C360, our company, they monitor all of the betting. Like I said, they're the best in the business. There aren't hundreds of fights being investigated. All clickbait BS. So this company, IC360, which is the best bet monitoring company in the business, we've been with them.
He says there's not hundreds, but is there like 50? You know what I'm saying? Is there some?
For years, and we get a report after every single fight that we do. So for anybody out there that's clickbait saying, oh, there's hundreds of fights, it's all bullshit. We've been with these guys for years. We take this very serious, and you know, we're watching every single fight that happens in the UFC, from the first prelim to the main event. So when this did happen, you know, a couple of years ago, whenever it was, that investigation is still ongoing, and now will be a part of this investigation too.
You mentioned talking to the FBI. Are you directly talking to Cash Patel? I'm sure you do have a relationship.
Yeah, I talked to him this morning, but then we just had an office full of FBI agents in here. So, you know, we if you try to do this, I've been very vocal and very open about this. We will be your worst enemy. We will immediately go after you, guns a-blazing, with the FBI and whoever else we need to get. And we will do everything we can to make sure you go to prison. It's like, you know, you know, you're seeing things out on the internet where like fighters are coming out and going, oh, I was approached.
We will do everything we can to make sure you go to prison is crazy, but you know, what's he supposed to say? But Isaac Dulgarian, who knows? Is it bullshit? You know, even Dana says, you know, it's not for sure that he's guilty yet. Ariel was speaking to his coach and basically said like, hey, why'd you kick him out? Because like he might not be guilty. So I don't know. Ariel, again, he speaks very intently. Him even suggesting that he might not be guilty to me seems like he might have intel that he's not guilty. I don't know. But I'm just saying, we'll ask Harry Mack too. But continuing.
Approached Really? Why didn't you tell us that? Or more importantly, why didn't you tell law enforcement that you were approached? Now? Now you're saying that you were approached? It's like if somebody comes up and says, hey, I want you to rob a bank. I'm going to rob banks. Want to rob a bank with me? And you don't do it. What, you're not gonna tell law enforcement? It's really weird that fighters are coming out now saying they were approached. And they're going to be approached now by the FBI.
We see this going on in other.
And they're getting fucking cut. The fact that they did get approached, right? And the reason why they're walking it back is because they didn't fucking come tell the UFC sooner. How do you get approached and not come tell the UFC? Like, I'd be like, yo, this suspicious fucking character just approached me about fixing a fight. Just so you know. I got nothing to do with it.
Sports, what the NBA is dealing with right now, as the person who runs the most prominent promotion in this sport, you just hate to see something like this, right? Whether the UFC or any other sport.
I hate to see anybody in our sport do anything illegal, you know, but fight fixing is absolutely insane. To get to this level and go out and be a part of fight. And I'm not saying this kid's guilty. You know what I mean? There's no proof that he's done this yet, but I can tell you this, it doesn't look good. It definitely doesn't look good. You know, we approached him before the fight, he and his lawyer, and they denied that anything, you know, from everything. Are you hurt? You know, are you injured in any way? Do you owe people money? Have you been asked to do anything, you know, illegal? We asked them all the questions, and everything was absolutely not, hell no. So the fight went on. And then, like I said, fight ended by finish in the first round, literally walked out from the octagon into my room in the back and called the FBI.
Okay, so that's Dana. He went into the back room, called the FBI. FBI visited headquarters today.
And they reached out to...
Okay, and the first statement given. Now we're going to get Harry Mack on right now. Oh, so that's Harry Mack, I think, in the bottom right.
Steve Garcia fights.
In my original post, I mentioned that there were 2 additional fighters on last night's card flagged for abnormal betting activity. Onama was one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And, I mean, people are calling for that fight, and like I said, it was very surprising. You consider number 12 versus number 13 in the UFC.
That's supposed to be a competitive fight.
Yeah. But I don't want to take away from Steve Garcia because the finish streak that he has is unbelievable, and that just continued it, but still.
Yeah.
And I also want to ask, like you said, there were 3 fighters flagged on this weekend's card, with Dulgarian Onama being 2 of them, both being linked to James Krause. Are we able to know who that third person was?
Frunza.
Okay.
Really? Interesting. Okay. And Daniel Frunza, to my knowledge, does not have any correlation with James Krause, what the other 2 did. So,
And correct. And once again, that could just be some guy has a hunch and plays a little bit more than he normally would.
So Frunza, Onama. So no SD. SD's name is cleared. SD Dumas had nothing to do with it. Shout out SD. Shout out SD. Free SD. So Dana confirms all of my reporting, but also told on himself because he is stupid. I stated 100 fights were flagged for abnormal betting activity. Dana says 100 fights aren't being investigated. So how many are, Dana? That's my thing too. Okay, let's FaceTime homie right now. Harry Mack, what up? Hey, say what's up to everybody, Harry Mack. What up, bro? This is the stream. You see the stream right here?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So I just wanted to confirm with them that you're on here. But all right, bro. So what's the deal, man? Like, how the hell did you find all this info and shit?
Let's start at square one. Fight is scheduled. Dulgarian, Del, everything seems normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dulgarian opens as a moderate favorite. Even gets steamed up throughout the week. Bet up from about 230 to around 290. Now, Saturday morning, excuse me, a source of mine alerted me to some strange, let's call it some, abnormal betting action, whatever we want to call it. I found it to be worth looking into, so Even though a bunch of people on the internet have called me a gay, retarded Jewish liar or whatever.
I've been seeing trans shit too. That's crazy.
I do have sources, and I them. It turns out, I mean, listen, man, I've worked in this game a long time, and I understand I'm not very public-facing. You know, I did media for a bit. I've had my work credited in fucking ESPN. I've broke fights, but I work a bit more behind the scenes now. I work more in matchmaking and in promotion. But the point is, I do this shit, brother. I'm around these guys. You know, I've trained at Longo's for a long time. I have been lucky enough to make some incredible connections through various odd jobs, various promotions I've worked for. I mean, it's genuinely more than I can count at this point. I think half of my wardrobe is shit that a promoter gave me for free at some point. But
are you a journalist or more of like somebody who's worked inside the MMA industry for a long time?
Yeah, so that's the fun question, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a journalist.
Okay.
I would not consider myself a journalist. I've used the term MMA media in the past because I've been credentialed for events. I've covered all that. I've done press conferences. I've done a lot of interviews. You can find all that back on my Instagram, back on my YouTube. Unfortunately, the reality of MMA media is there's not a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of the writing gigs I got sucked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they wanted stories about fucking Jake Paul and this and that, and
what do they be paying for that, by the way?
Not the worst paying MMA job I ever had. Oh, you know what? They don't exist anymore. I can just name them. Fansided. It was Fansided MMA.
Okay.
It was $1 for every 100 views. No, $1
That's
for
insane.
every 100 views. I don't know. It was the worst paying writing job I've ever had.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know, I will say probably the best paying writing job I ever had in the space was, funny enough, working for a promotion, working for PFL and doing written play-by-play for them for a few years.
Okay.
So, you know, I guess the picture I'm painting here is I've done a lot.
You can get insider information, it sounds like, you know, from your previous jobs.
That's more or less what I'm getting at, you know?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, everyone wants to question sources, question this, question that. You work in this industry long enough, you get to know people, and yeah, guess what? You can walk into any major gym in the country, and I got relationships with somebody in there, and you're not going to find somebody in this business, maybe outside of the UFC and promoters and Ali Abdelaziz and some other people who I've pissed off who don't really like me, but I don't care about them. I care about fighters, and you're not going to find a single fighter who has a bad thing to say about me.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what I do this for, I truly, I care about these guys. I want better for these guys. I worked in employment law for 7 years. I was a paralegal. I am unfortunately very familiar with labor law, with unionization, with all of it, and it just... It breaks my heart how some of these guys are treated, man. I have friends who have been chewed up and spit out by the UFC, and
happens every day.
That's what I'm saying, man. And yeah, it's just, it breaks my heart. The state of the business, the managers we allow to operate with impunity in this business. It's just top to bottom, rank with corruption.
So let me, I don't mean to cut you off, but let me ask you, because you touched on managers. What's going on with Jason House, Iridium Sports Agency? I don't care if these people redacted statements, right? I think I've heard 4 people talking about fight fixing, and like 3 of the 4 are a part of Iridium.
It's not a good look.
And then you throw Onama in there, that's like 4 out of 5. You know, because I'm talking Vanessa, I'm talking Vince, I'm talking Isaac. I saw the video, you said Onama, right? 4. Onama was flagged.
So I will say, yes, Onama was flagged, but I do want to clarify because I think a lot of people have kind of misconstrued this.
Okay.
Flagged and fixed are not synonyms, right? So flagged in this case, it's a pretty broad term, right? That's what federal investigators use as a blanket term for anything, right? So something could get flagged for, let's say somebody has a dormant betting account and they haven't bet in forever. It's not a crazy bet or anything like that, but if that guy walks into a sports book and lays down $1,000 bet, that's probably going to get flagged as something that's a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Know your customer laws, all of these, these are why these regulations exist. If you bet at a legal sports book, they have all your financial information. They have your fucking social security number. I don't think these guys necessarily understand that. And they really understand the implications of that.
They can see your betting history. So if you drop like $2K on a bet, that's like a fucking underdog bet per se on like a prop, right?
Right.
And you're normally betting.
Let's say you never bet MMA. Let's say you're a casual bettor. You come in on Sundays. You bet $100 here or there on football, and then yes, out of nowhere you walk in and you place a $5,000 bet on a random prop wager in an MMA fight. That's going to get flagged.
Definitely.
So that's a very broad term.
Okay. So there could have been something like that. Like you said, they're not synonyms, so it's not accusing Onama of fixing or anything like that.
Correct.
But he could have been flagged, is what you're saying, or he was flagged.
Yes, that fight was flagged for irregular betting activity. Yes,
okay, so even if we take out Onama, what's the deal with Iridium? Because, okay, let me just throw this out there, right? Before all this happened, a few months ago, I've been noticing, I don't know, I mean, you seem pretty tapped in, so maybe you've been noticing too. Iridium gets all their fights leaked. Like, all of their fights get leaked. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Leaked in what?
Like Peter Yan versus Marcus Magee got leaked by Magic Bets.
Okay, I understand.
And then there's other ones too, like before that, I don't have it off the top of my head, but there's been other ones where they get leaked and shit like that. So to the point where I'm like, is there a mole in Jason House's camp?
Speaking again, this is conjecture. This is my opinion.
Okay.
My guess there would genuinely be, I don't really think there's anything nefarious happening there. What a lot of agents will, I shouldn't say that, I guess, because there could be a nefarious element. One thing that agents and the UFC will do is publicly announce that a fight has been accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when they're doing that, their guy has accepted the fight and the other guy hasn't. So now you're in a position where if you're the other guy and you don't accept the fight, well, now it's, so-and-so pulled out. So-and-so's a pussy. This guy's the reason the fight didn't fall through.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be a strategy that managers and promoters use to put pressure on fighters to take fights.
Yeah.
Now, I cannot say with certainty that is what is happening there. You know what I mean? I can't say that. I do think there's also just an element of, it's a lot of these same guys who get these scoops. And
they're pressuring fighters, potentially, is what you're saying. Like, I think, because I did DM Marcus Magee when that fight got broke, and Marcus was like, I'm down to accept it, but I have not signed yet because I'm trying to negotiate a little bit. He's a higher-ranked guy,
Yes.
So then I was like, okay, so it's pretty much going to happen. Yeah. And it did end up getting announced a couple weeks later.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no, I was just saying it ended up getting announced a couple weeks later anyway, so he was right. He just hadn't signed. So maybe it was a pressuring thing, trying to get Marcus to take the fight, without having to make him sign a new deal, right?
Right. Listen, there's a lot of posturing and negotiating and leveraging that goes on behind the scenes that we aren't privy to. Yeah. That's a fact.
Okay, but speaking to...
That is a strategy that promoters can use to put some pressure on a fighter. Yes.
Right. So I heard that you had the conversation with Jason House. So kind of like how did he kind of get involved in this and get on your radar to even want to call him and stuff?
Well, I think the answer to that's obvious, right? First of all, Dulgarian's his guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems obvious that I would want to talk to the manager there. The other part of this, obviously, is that my reporting, which again has been confirmed by Dana White and Ariel Helwani at this point, was the key. So there's obviously the element of Isaac himself, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to let investigators do their thing. We all saw what we saw. We all have our opinions, but I don't want to throw around words that are going to get me in trouble.
Okay.
We all saw what we saw. If we're operating under the assumption that he did throw that fight, that creates obviously an issue for Isaac in and of itself, and he's going to have an issue. And I can confidently tell you, he will never fight professionally in mixed martial arts again.
Wow.
I can tell you that. The other issue, which I did report, was the UFC was made aware of the abnormal betting activity about, from what I understand, somewhere between 2 and 3 hours before the fight. From my understanding, not from my understanding, from what I know for a fact, multiple conversations were had between Hunter Campbell, Dulgarian's team, and I guess the rest of the UFC. Dulgarian's team said, we don't know anything about this. We don't know what's going on. This is weird. Our guy's ready to go. He's ready to go out there and kill someone. And we saw what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So that now begs the question, why the fuck did they allow that fight to happen? Why did they allow that fight to happen? I'm just sitting here, like I said, I work in promotion. From a very basic risk reward, I'm in 3rd grade making a fucking pro-con chart.
Mm-hmm.
The negatives and the cons and the risks so far outweigh any potential benefit from putting on a random Apex.
I would argue there's no benefit. Like, you could scratch that. The money's already been made. Like,
nothing matters.
Nothing matters. Yeah, nothing matters. Nobody really even knows them that well anyway.
No.
Yeah.
No. And guess what? Then this whole thing is a non-story. You and I aren't here talking about this. This isn't national news.
Right.
So they had a chance to pull this fight. And again, just back to that risk reward. You know that there is abnormal betting activity on this fight. The final handle on that Dulgarian fight was $16 million.
Wow.
It is difficult for me to even contextualize how insane that is for a fucking Apex prelim fight.
On two basically no names, right? If we're just keeping it real.
Yeah, more or less. And I mean, listen,
16 million for people like that.
No, it's absurd.
Yeah.
That's like an NBA game handle. That's like a low-tier NFL game handle. That's that's unheard of at that level. Which, again, obviously is going to raise flags.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it obviously raises a question, and I don't think it's an unfair question to ask of, okay, so it was the UFC incentivized to put on this fight.
Mm.
The other element that I am genuinely sympathetic to Isaac to, I don't think a lot of these guys understand what they're getting themselves into in terms of the actual legality, in terms of, listen, brother, if you got someone throwing, if you have a group of people throwing $16 million down to fix a fucking fight, game this out with me. Hunter Campbell walks in. He says, hey, we got this tip. There's abnormal betting activity. In my brain, I now know, okay, the money's been placed. The bets have been placed. If I do choose to walk away and not take the fight, that... I don't want to say anything that's going to get me in trouble here, but the kind of people who lay $16 million on a fixed fight are not the kind of people that you want to cross and make enemies of.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand from his perspective, feeling he had no choice.
The bridge had already been crossed, right? Once the bridge had kind of already been crossed.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I understand why Dulgarian's team would still lobby for the fight, but I also am of the opinion that you can never ask a fighter and a coach, hey, do you guys want to fight? The answer is going to be yes.
Mm-hmm.
Almost always. Like, a guy can be half fucking dead. The answer is going to be yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it becomes a question of, okay, so how much of this responsibility falls on the UFC for allowing a clearly compromised fight to happen?
Yeah, that's a blunder. Because like we just said, if you weigh it out real quick, I do it even on YouTube. There's fighters who I have relationships with, and I make a quick decision like, I'd rather get an interview in the future. This risk outweighs the reward, so I'm not even going to put it out. I'll get more out of it by not putting it out in the future. These guys do this all the time. You know what I mean? $1 billion company.
Absolutely.
So it is a little bit suspicious when you look at it like that,
Yeah. Absolutely. And that, again, is where I think the question marks come in about, whose head's on the fucking chopping block here?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said, Dulgarian's not going to fight again, but in my opinion, that's not a satisfactory outcome here.
Could Isaac be innocent at all? Or no? Because Ariel's talking about, like, you know, he might not be innocent. What happens if he's innocent? Will you let him back in the gym? Dana's on this TMZ saying, we don't know for sure yet. Is that just them covering their tracks? Or is there, like, some stuff coming in that Isaac might not have had as much to do with it?
I think that feels more like covering your bases.
Okay.
This is my opinion again. I'm not speaking from a place of sourced information or facts or anything like that. That feels to me more like covering your bases, but I mean, again, we all saw what we saw.
Yeah.
And the thing is, yes, this does happen in MMA. It's fighting. Guys go into fights hurt. It happens. Mm-hmm. But the tacit handshake agreement has always been, you shut the fuck up about it. Mm-hmm. Nobody finds out about it, at least until after the fight. I have never seen anything as brazen as this. I have never seen anything so poorly planned and executed, and there's so much that just makes absolutely no sense here.
Or almost even like blatantly executed too. There are so many opportunities to not let this happen, and it was blatantly went through.
Yeah, again, that's where, you know, where yes, I think some of the responsibility absolutely does fall on the UFC.
Okay.
Like your job is to protect the integrity of our sport. This is a fucking stain. Mm-hmm. This is not something that just goes away. And guess what? It's getting worse because for some reason, me breaking this story has empowered a bunch of fighters to decide to come out and say, "Oh, I was also offered money to throw a fight."
Yeah.
It's baffling.
Have you reached out to try to confirm any of that info, or to kind of like, you know, see as far as even who's reaching out to these fighters and stuff like that? Like, who are these mysterious people?
I am working quite hard to figure that out.
Okay.
I have no idea why Vince Morales tweeted that he was joking. That was a very stupid thing to do. Mm-hmm. I can personally tell you what happened with Vince Morales, according to Vince Morales, was he was approached on the casino floor by a guy he did not know who offered him $70,000 in cash to throw the fight. Mm. He said no. They went their separate ways. He claims he never saw the guy again, never knew his name. Mm. But again, it happened. Yeah. Well, I don't know why you turn around and go, "Oh, just kidding." Well, that you're not helping, buddy. You're not helping.
He kind of shot himself in the foot, because now the UFC, what Dana said in this thing too, is like, so you got approached and you're tweeting about it, but you didn't tell me about this months ago?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's why he's saying I think he's joking.
These guys have an obligation. They absolutely have an obligation to report to either the commission, federal investigators, or the promotion, "Hey, I've been approached to throw a fight." Mm-hmm. That's a federal crime. That's not, like, again, like I said earlier, like, everyone who posted some shit like that and is now deleting it and backtracking and "I was just kidding," mm-hmm. Congratulations on the free interview you just booked yourself with the FBI, dumbass.
No, that's what they just did.
100%.
Yeah.
Try snitching, brother. I don't know what
Self-snitching at its finest.
Yes. As far as Vanessa Demopoulos, she claims that she was unable to find the DM. And that is all the information that I was able to get there. I'm sorry, what were the other names? I know, it's like, I literally can't keep track of this.
No, it was just Vince, Vanessa, and then Lando. And I do believe Lando was joking, just because the way he worded it, but...
Lando, I have not spoken to. I have been meaning to reach out to him, but I am kind of the same opinion that was a little tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, talking about, like, my record reflects it, and he's kind of got double-digit losses.
I do still think this is a thing that is happening quite regularly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
So, and speaking of a thing that's happening quite regularly, the fighters we're talking about, I read your tweet, and before I even read it, I had the same response. Dana saying, you know, calling fake news on your behalf, but then also confirming. I mean, he's saying I knew about it beforehand. You said he knew about it beforehand. So what exactly are you lying about? So my thing is exactly what you said. Okay, it's not hundreds. I see you harping on the word hundreds. So how many is it then? Is it 50?
Word hundreds. He said 100 fixed. I never reported 100 fixed fights. I said 100 fights were flagged for abnormal betting activity.
Right, and flagged is not fixed, as we discussed earlier.
Explained, that's a broad fucking term.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a guy waking up and having a hunch and throwing more money than he usually does on something.
Mm-hmm.
So him focusing on there aren't... to me, I think he fucking told on himself there. Because I never said being investigated
mm-hmm.
or fixed.
Mm.
So he says there aren't 100 fights that are being investigated. Great. Tell me how many are now.
Mm-hmm. Because you said they were being flagged.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which doesn't imply...
Like Onama's not being investigated, right? It just got flagged.
I do not know at this point
okay.
that he is being investigated. I just know that one was flagged. But yes, again, the language that he's a stupid fucking guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
The language... He misunderstood what I fucking said, and he responded to not what I was saying. And in doing so, yes, revealed that there is an active FBI investigation, just like I fucking said.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
So yes, I'm not really sure what I'm being accused of lying about. When him and Helwani are both like, nope, this is all true.
Yeah, they vindicated you. And actually, I feel like Ariel kind of stole some of your shine, bro. That's why if you look at my Instagram page, I didn't credit Ariel. I posted your fucking tweets. Because you're the one who fucking broke the news.
Ariel just read my shit verbatim. And
I know.
Didn't really add other than I can confirm this. Thanks, man.
Yeah, he basically said after you said that there's 100 flag fights, he's like, I can assure you people are being approached. So I guess it's a little bit of different news, but it's along the same lines.
Yes, but I know he also said it was not an isolated incident.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It's very funny to go from one day getting absolutely crucified to the next day, hey man, good job breaking this. But like,
yeah, I saw Chael's response.
Some people being like, no, you're just making this up, or somehow I want clicks or clout, or I don't give a fuck about any of that, dude.
Yeah.
You know how many fucking bridges that I am burning in doing this? There's a reason people aren't reporting on this. I fucking am.
Got you.
Can't. Like,
I respect the work. I respect the work.
Principles.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything from the Herzog?
So all I am aware of on that front is that I do not know the details. I do not know if there is a fight that spurred this specifically. I just know that federal investigators feel that there is something there worth looking into and auditing. So they're going to take a look at his fights. He had some very weird responses on Twitter, posting like a very normal guy, really well, really normal, really not worried at all. But yes, he is being audited. I don't necessarily know the full extent of that, the full extent of what that investigation looks like. But I mean, I had a guy in my mentions tell me, well, what would a UFC referee have to do with a gambling scandal? And I replied, what would Tim Donaghy have to do with an NBA gambling? Like, do you hear yourself, you fucking idiot?
These guys have all the control. Why wouldn't they get approached is the bigger question. Who wouldn't approach them?
What other sport does the single referee have the power to arbitrarily stop the fight at any time?
Right. No, I don't think. Yeah.
Here?
It's the only sport that exists.
Get paid like shit too. Those guys do not get paid well.
Right. So why not get compromised? And the people with deep pockets, they know they don't have that much money. That's why they're targeting the lower level UFC fighters. So on this topic too, you know, Ariel saying fighters are getting approached. That seems like the easier route if you want to fix a fight. But you're also saying with this Herzog thing that, like, is it safe to say that referees are also being approached to you know, sway fight results? Is that a better way of saying it? Like, over-under type shit? Like, we have Murgliata stopping a fight with 3 seconds left. Did somebody have a bet on the over? You know, you're forcing Kevin Holland to fight. You know,
there's a lot of weird shit to look at.
He's blatantly lying to Kevin Holland, telling him, if you don't continue, you're going to be DQ'd. 2 nut shots, no point taken. Like, what? Did you not want the fight to end in a no contest?
Henry Cejudo told Herzog he couldn't see, and Herzog had him continue for the next round.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, I am not in a position. I do not have enough information to sit here and tell you, you know, so and so is guilty, so and so is rigging fights, so and so has been approached. But it seems that federal investigators feel that there is enough of a pattern for it to be worth looking into.
Okay. And Herzog, I guess, is the only one that I guess has come up on your radar. No other guys have come up?
That's the only name that I have personally heard. So,
okay.
So, I would not be surprised once again that it feels very much like this is still the tip of the iceberg here.
Yeah. Just real quick, do you know why Miragliotta claims that he stopped that fight with Kyle Nelson a couple weeks ago?
I do not.
So he claims he has a hearing problem and he can't hear the bell. And he's like communicated this with the announcers. Yeah, but then why are you reffing if you can't hear the bell?
Yeah,
is that an excuse? That's a golden excuse in my opinion. That at least allows me to call into question if you're refereeing with a problem like that, is that an excuse to get away, you know what I mean, with swaying fight results? I have to question it if you're stepping in the octagon that way. Yeah. And it wasn't even the first time. Kyle Nelson was like the second time he prematurely stopped a fight before the end of the round. He's done it before.
I think these are all absolutely fair questions to ask, and I think hopefully sooner than later we're going to get some answers.
Okay, all right. And just to add to that, one last thing is, like, speaking about how you care about the fighters, why I'm a little bit enraged is because I don't care how tough Frevola is. Of course he's going to continue. But when he was that badly hurt, you forced him to take another 10 minutes of damage when he could have got out of there after being concussed. You know, like, that's I know Frevola's tough,
so
but
I want to be transparent here.
Okay.
Maddie is a good friend of mine.
I know, you say you're from Long Island, so.
Fine.
Yeah.
So
let me just have that take then. You could let me have that.
For him there, but
okay.
All I will tell you is Maddie wanted to continue the fight, and he is a guy who is might need to be protected from himself here and there, but he would much rather go out on his fucking sword.
Yeah, and it's nothing against Matt, and I know, you know, if Matt sees this or whatever, it's like, I'm just looking out for the best interest of the fighter.
He got up and fought. They told him the round was starting. He said, okay,
of course he's going to continue.
Of course.
Yeah,
exactly.
Of course. Okay.
So,
let me read the chat. I think I got some guys in here asking questions. Do you have anything else you want to add, though? Any new developments or anything?
Nothing that comes off the top of the head, but I've also I've been at this. It's been a long couple days, so
yeah.
I'll fire away. Let's see.
Okay, let me see here. We got let me filter through. They've been commenting while we've been chatting. So somebody's saying
a little Brawley statue in the background.
yeah. You know Brawley, hell yeah.
I see you.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, so somebody says they're kind of having a question about the Frunze flagged accusations. They're saying he would have tapped round one. That was fully locked in. No way Frunze threw. But again, you're not saying he threw, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I am not accusing Frunze of throwing a fight. I am saying that there was abnormal betting activity that was flagged on that fight. That's
okay.
It.
Got you.
I do understand that there is some conflation and some confusion there, but I want to clarify again that those are two different things.
Okay, I got you. You don't happen to freestyle by chance, do you?
No, I get asked that question. Apparently, I chose a pseudonym of a guy much more famous than me because I'm stupid. So,
oh, okay. It's a play on your name then.
Freestyle guy. That's not me. I coach boxing for a living.
Okay. Oh, so do you know do you have a number amount for any of the, or I guess not any of the fighters, but mostly for Isaac? Do you have any kind of like number of what Isaac might have been offered to throw that shit? Because you're talking 16 million. Maybe.
Correct.
Yeah.
I am not aware.
Okay.
Isaac has been radio silent, and I would imagine that is at the advice of counsel and federal investigators.
Okay. This also adds another question I had. I heard from Dana on this interview that James Krause his investigation with the Derek Minner thing is still ongoing. Have you happened to ask about any updates on that? Because we haven't heard anything from Krause either.
As far as I'm aware, James Krause and Jeff Molina are both still being actively investigated by the FBI.
Okay. Got you. No new developments then. Just ongoing investigation.
Yes. As
okay.
far as yes.
Got you. A couple more for you, and I appreciate the time, brother.
Absolutely. My pleasure, man.
Let me see here. Oh, anything about judges getting approached for fucking fixing shit? You ever heard anything like that?
Not that I am aware of. I think judges are just real bad at their fucking jobs.
Okay. There needs to be a higher barrier of entry, like black belt or something, like it is in like jiu-jitsu, you know?
Yes, I'm glad we're seeing more guys. Like, you know, he said it's awesome when you see Frank Trigg out there, and it was cool to see Chris Lieben out there before he decided to be a UFC mouthpiece and lobby in favor of this new Ali Act.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you know, it's nice to see those guys involved.
I've been trying to... I'll leave you with this then, or we can end on this, because I'm not seeing too many questions. Comment your new questions if you guys have them, and I'll ask it. But I'll pretty much end it on this, because you brought up the Ali Act. Like, in real basic terms, like, what's kind of your thoughts on this whole thing? Like, whether it's good or bad for fighters, you know?
Disbanding the Ali Act is very bad for fighters.
Okay.
It is a net negative for fighters. The Ali Act should be expanded to cover MMA. So, for those who aren't familiar, the Ali Act it prevents a single body from controlling all of the talent, basically, right? So that's why we have the WBO and the WBC and the IFC and you know, Usyk unifying 4 belts, right? There's independent ranking systems, and when a fight is going to be made for a belt, those different regulators have to put in bids. They have to bid on those fights, which is why those guys make millions and millions and millions of dollars, because they have actual fucking bargaining power. Whereas the UFC signs you, they give you what they give you, you can get fucked afterwards. So I think the fact that they are, I mean, they're trying to basically, yeah, they're trying to transpose the MMA pay structure onto boxing, and I don't understand. I can see how it would attract some career jobbers, some career, you know, guys who aren't really anything, but you're telling me that a champion is going to make $800,000? Canelo made fucking $300 million for his last fight, dude. How are you going to attract talent that way? How is that a good thing for fighters in the long term? That's just wage suppression.
Yeah. Well, so what do you have to say then when Dana says, well, we're going to be in our own little corner doing our thing so the other boxers don't have to worry about it? Are you still concerned? Or are you like, okay, go fail in the corner, or what?
If that's how it's going to be, then sure. But listen, he's got a lot of powerful friends in high places, so who the fuck knows?
He was able to promote Canelo Crawford.
Somehow or another.
Yeah. Like, just to add to it a little bit in a simple term, because you're talking about the boxing and how they bid on shit between the commissions, not the commissions, but WBO, WBC and shit.
Yes.
Yeah, the UFC, the way they do it is they call 2 fighters and see which one will say yes sooner.
Correct.
If one guy says no, they say, okay, fine.
Which cheaper guy is available?
Yeah, the cheaper option too. So they're almost bargaining for cheaper fighters.
Like fun action. Like Rafael Alves isn't in the UFC right now. You can't tell me that there's 100 lightweights in the world better than that guy. He puts on fun, entertaining fights. He was expensive. He would have been 80-80 to re-sign him. Guess what? You can bring in 10 fucking Contender Series guys for that price. And
get some good knockouts. So you think that's why the talent is like, you know, you hear people saying the talent's not where it almost used to be.
It's by design. It's by design, brother. This has been the design for the last 3 or so years. It's been use Contender Series as a launching pad, to pay, you know, back when they actually used to book good prospects. You get a fight out of a good prospect for $5,000.
Cheap talent.
Correct. And then you have that guy locked up on a 4-fight deal that starts at fucking 10-10. 10-10, 12-12, 14-14, 16-16. That's if you make it 4 fights, which guess what? Most guys don't. So, yeah, they are no longer interested in signing the best talent in the world. Saladin Parnasse would be in the UFC right now. You know what I mean? There are good fighters outside of the UFC, and it's unfortunate that not all fans understand that. But yes, the design of roster construction in the UFC, and we're seeing it now. They don't have star power anymore.
Yeah.
They actively made a choice that they did not want another Conor McGregor ever again. They never wanted a guy to be bigger than the promotion. Because guess what? Conor could walk away tomorrow, and even though he's an evil piece of shit, he could go put on a fight and put on a promotion, and he'd sell 10 million pay-per-views. He would. He'd have no problem doing it, and they know that. So, yes, in my opinion, the UFC is actively invested in not really building stars in the same way that they used to. They bring in cheap talent. There's a high turnover rate. I mean, look at these next couple fucking Apex cards, man. How many of these guys are going to actually stick around or wind up, ever in a title picture or ever in a fight that actually matters for fucking anything? And it's unfortunate. It's a disservice to a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys get thrown in there too early. They lose 2 UFC fights, and you never hear from them again.
And they get speed ran on top of that.
What's that?
And they get speed ran. Like, they get thrown in early, and then they fucking, speed run their career.
Yep. That's what I'm saying, man.
Unless you're Patty.
We don't have guys who develop anymore. We don't have guys who have a chance to. And part of that is managers and the region. I mean, look, as a guy who books on the regional scene, some of these guys are, I'm 6-1, but I'm 6-1 because I've been fed a bunch of fucking cans by a promotion that knows I sell a lot of tickets. You know what I mean? It's tough.
Okay. This is the last question, promise you. Is there anything that can be done to prevent stuff like this in the future? Whether, fighters getting approached or accepting offers?
I would say the obvious answer, the no-brainer policy, is anytime the UFC is notified of abnormal betting on a fight, you pull the fucking fight. Easy. I know that's not a solution to this entire problem, but in terms of where we are right now and the fucking optics in this disaster, pull the fucking fight. So that's one. This is, again, where it gets more difficult because, yes, there is a socioeconomic factor of, like I just said, they've now built a roster comprised of, 400 guys making $12,000 a fight who, yes, just logistically speaking, are going to be more susceptible to things like this. They have created an environment that is ripe for shit like this to fucking happen. So part of it is pay your fucking fighters what they're worth, and maybe they won't feel the need to go outside of the system.
Yeah, I hear you for sure.
That's the big two for me.
And you'd have more stars too. Let these guys get a lot of money, live that star, that superstar lifestyle. Because you see these guys, they're, you know what I mean? A lot of them, they live like me, like a normal guy, and it's you're supposed to kind of be set above us. That's how at least we look at you.
Yeah, and listen, a lot of these guys, they don't show personality anymore, you know what I mean? Listen, I don't know how old you are, I don't know how long you've been following the sport.
I'm 29, I've been a lifelong fan. Since Anderson Silva, pretty much.
Alright, so you know that there was a time where there was a middle class in the UFC. There were guys who were making, $30,000 a fight, but they could clear 6 figures a fight selling their own sponsors, and they could make a comfortable living fighting. And the UFC took that away too. So you take away all their fucking revenue routes, you pay them like shit, and then you wonder why shit like this fucking happens.
Yeah. Every decision they make is in favor of them. It's eventually going to come back in some type of way. You can't keep doing the fighters wrong.
Exactly.
And it contradicts itself a lot of times too.
If you only serve the bottom line, the product suffers, and we've seen it suffer.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
Not what fucking 10 years ago. It's not what it was 5 years ago.
All right, brother. Hey, that shit was crazy though. Herzog calling you trans and shit like that. I just got to tell you that. What? That's out of line.
That was fucking weird, man. Like, first of all, what are you, fucking 70 years old? A guy with long hair, you make a transgender joke? That's like, at least if you're gonna be a fucking transphobic piece of shit, at least have good material.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So I just want to put that out there. That was crazy work by him.
And again, yeah, really posting like a guy who's not worried and not concerned at all.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. I used to think Herzog was like gold standard. There you go. I thought Herzog was gold standard. Now I'm looking at him with a watchful eye.
And a lot of people are going back and making threads and doing this, that, and the other thing, and putting a lot together. So I'm glad I've inspired some other citizen journalists.
All right, brother. Hey, well, I appreciate the time again. Nice meeting you, and I'll keep up to date on your updates on X and shit like that.
Absolutely, brother. Yes, you can find me at BB Harry Mac on Twitter, on Instagram. Only other thing I got to plug, if you're in the New York area, December 12th, I got a show we're putting on, Victory Fighting League. We got Kron Gracie and a local guy, Tom Pooch, in our main event for our featherweight title.
Okay,
December 12th, Terminal 5, come through.
December 12th, Terminal 5.
Yep, I'll see you there.
Okay, hell yeah, brother. I'm glad we finally got the time to chat.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
All right, man. Take care.